Hi, my name is Stephanie Vance, and I'm VP of Research here at AYTM. Like many of you in our industry, AYTM has been keen to understand the impact of the coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic on American lives, and in particular on consumer behavior. We've been fielding a lot of questions from our clients in recent weeks, and so in response to that, we began running a weekly consumer tracker last week, which we will continue for the foreseeable future. We're going to be disseminating that reporting in various forms, including infographics, as well as a full report that you can download from our website. And then I'll be doing a short video each week just to share the highlights from each wave. This first one's going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to give you the lay of the land on the tracker, just a few little details. It's about 7 to 9 minutes long, fielded to 1,000 Gen Pop consumers from our proprietary panel, Paid Viewpoint, and sample is balanced to census on age, gender, income, and region. First wave was fielded Thursday, March 19th, and every subsequent wave will be fielded on the following Thursday. Topics that we cover include awareness of COVID-19, perceptions and concerns that people have, the impact on their daily lives, and changes in their spending, discretionary spending, and just buying behavior in general. We also delve into impact on Americans' employment and their general outlook for the future, including consumer confidence metrics and just longer-term perceptions of how the impact of COVID-19 is going to play out in their lives. Okay, so all of that said, let's dive into some of the insights from the first wave of data. Start with the unsurprising stuff. Unsurprisingly, nearly every American that we surveyed, 96%, is aware of COVID-19 pandemic. Concern levels are also very high, and that's particularly true among the elderly. What we see is a very linear relationship with age and self-concern. So if I'm under 30, my concern is moderate to low. If I'm over 60, my concern is quite high, and then in between those ages, it is quite linear. And although people are worried about their own individual safety, there's far greater concern for others. And in particular, for our younger citizens, there's a lot of concern about elderly family members in particular. On top of these health concerns, we're seeing fears over the economic impact of the disease, both personally, so people's own finances and economic situations, but also for the US economy as a whole. One interesting thing is that despite the loud megaphone that some people perhaps wield, we only find that 1 in 7 Americans surveyed say that they believe this situation, this pandemic, is not as serious as we've been led to believe or had communicated by the CDC and the World Health Organization and most of our elected officials. So moving on to the impact on people's daily lives. What we find is that the pandemic has already caused either a moderate or severe impact on the daily lives of fully 80% of Americans. And this is particularly true and even higher in those regions that are currently hardest hit, which right now is the Northeast and the West. 3/4 of American consumers are doing things like reducing discretionary spending. Dining, retail shopping, and entertainment outings are also being cut as social distancing measures become more common and also mandated in many, many markets and states. Purchase behavior, too, is shifting as shoppers are loading up their pantries, but also moving towards home delivery and exploring alternative retailers for products that they are having a hard time locating. As of last week, spending is down in many categories. Those are categories like apparel, electronics, beauty supplies, toys. In contrast, we see the purchase of things like cleaning products and other household needs products, toilet paper, obviously, as well as shelf-stable and frozen food have actually increased. At this point, or rather as of last week, Americans are generally purchasing the same brands that they purchased prior to the pandemic. However, where we see a discrepancy here is that nearly 1 in 4 are shopping different brands in those categories that see an increase in shopping overall. So think about cleaning products and those shelf-stable foods. Some of this could be due to changing preferences. The example that I like to give is I might want a stronger cleaning product right now than I normally would. Maybe normally I'm focused more on natural cleaning products, but right now that's not going to cut it for me. But in addition to those changing preferences, a lot of this could be driven by the fact that supplies are short. And so people are kind of taking what they can get, making those trade-offs in the moment and being willing to switch and be flexible just to have a product in that category. Moving over to the jobs front, we find that over 1/4 of Americans last week reported having seen the effects of COVID-19 extend to their jobs in the form of either reduced hours or salary or total job loss. On top of those numbers, another third have begun to work remotely. So we're seeing huge upheaval in both the nature and the availability of work, and this is something that we, and of course many others, are going to follow closely. Then finally, turning to our kind of looking forward, Americans generally agree that the coming 12 months are going to include difficult times for the US economy. That said, it's very interesting because there's actually at this moment a lot of optimism. Many Americans do not feel that their personal financial state will be significantly better or worse after these same 12 months. It's in the shorter term that we see more pessimism or perhaps realism. 4 out of 5 Americans believe the COVID-19 pandemic will have at least a moderate impact on their lives, and most feel that it's going to be several months before life is back to normal. So that's my video top line about last week's tracker. I'm going to be popping back in here next week to talk trending data and to cover off on Americans' reaction to the coronavirus relief bill, which currently, as I make this video, is making its way through the House. In the meantime, if you have any questions about any of our data on the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, or you want to talk about running a consumer pulse of your own during this time of just rapidly changing norms and behaviors, feel free to reach out to us over email. You can reach out to me directly at Stephanie@AYTM.com, or you can visit us on our website. Between now and our next visit, I hope everybody stays healthy. Thanks.